Hello, welcome to our Socratic seminar on 1984 by George Orwell. My name is Angela Kuo.
My name is Tal Senderovitz.
My name is Dahlia Ferguson.
My name is Roumi Panayotova.
And my name is Christian Shuck.
Okay, so I'll start us off. How do you guys think the novel connects to the outside world or other texts?
I truly think that our text 1984 connects to an outside text called The Giver by Louis Story, where it also talks about dystopian society. Some connections that can be made between the two novels is the restrictions that they put on their citizens. For example, in 1984, citizens are prohibited from intimate relationships and disloyal thoughts. While in The Giver, the freedom of choosing their own family, child's name, and job are restricted. Both novels make it a priority for their citizens to be prohibited from having their own thoughts and opinions. However, why is it important to these societies that thought and idea are prohibited?
And to add on to that question, Angela, I do feel that it's important to these societies to have their ideas and thoughts prohibited because they want to make their society one and be joint. In order for these types of societies to survive, they can't afford to have anyone be thinking differently from anyone. And if that happens, then it's a big risk to the government and anyone controlling the people.
Yes, I believe this makes sense, which is why Thought Police is created in 1984 to prevent anybody from thinking differently and having their opinions.
I also want to add a great point, Angela, about connecting 1984 to The Giver. The restrictions in both novels really highlight the theme of control. I think one aspect we could explore further is the role of language in maintaining this control. Like, for example, in 1984, the concept of newspeak limits the ability to express dissenting ideas. Similarly, in The Giver, the precise language used by the community restricts the range of thoughts and emotions. It's interesting how language and manipulation contributes to the overall control in these dystopian societies.
Now, how does the power of the party used to get Winston to love Big Brother tell us about the control of our own government?
Well, in 1984, when the government forces Winston to love Big Brother, it shows how a powerful government can control people's minds and feelings. It's like they're using tricks to make individuals believe and obey whatever the government says. George Orwell warns us about the risks of governments trying to control what people think and taking away from their freedom. The book reminds me to be careful and protect our rights to avoid a situation where the government has too much control.
Right, Tal, and I can definitely see how protecting our rights would be important in case those rights were taken away. That could really alter how our society works and just how much the government has over us as just the little people, since we don't have nearly the amount of power that they do.
Absolutely, Dahlia. It's crucial for us to understand how our rights make sure that we are not taken advantage of by the government. As the world of 1984 is more similar to our world now more than ever.
Especially now with the use of technology, it is extremely easy to manipulate information. All the citizens were brainwashed, and Big Brother being able to make Winston love the government shows their use of heavy manipulation. In today's day and age, all content is biased, and in 1984, a large part of the manipulation of the society starts with the manipulation of the information. The lack of caring to find truthful information makes our society more susceptible to a 1984 situation.
I agree, especially in today's society. We as a people need to think for ourselves and not put too much trust in the government. We can't become puppets of the government.
Okay, so a question that I do want to ask is, what are some of the themes that we see in 1984 and how do they affect the events that happen throughout the novel?
One theme that I really think relates to how the effects of the events throughout the novel is the manipulation of reality, where Winston is part of the Ministry of Truth, and where he rewrites like historical documents to fit the party's current narrative. Like Tall says, Newspeak is where the party creates a language by limiting vocabulary and alternating the meaning of words in order to control the way people think and express their opinions. This theme highlights the power of language and information control in shaping people's beliefs and memories. People aren't allowed to express themselves if there's no words to express those feelings. For example, the quote, "You wanted a good time," they, meaning the party, wanted to stop you from having it, shows that Big Brother does not want anybody to express themselves, whether it's happiness, sadness, or intimacy.
I also want to add on to Dahlia's question. I think George Orwell's theme of totalitarian control, also propaganda, surveillance, they all shape the entire story. And the government's overwhelming power to control thoughts and manipulate truth affects characters like Winston, making rebellion a dangerous act. The constant surveillance creates an atmosphere of fear and distrust, influencing characters' behavior. Overall, these themes drive the dystopian events, illustrating the devastating impact of unchecked government control on individuals and society.
The theme of control pushes forward the whole book. Everything is manipulated by the government, including the language, the media, and even people's thoughts. Winston and Julia was manipulated by the government, and without the control, they would not have been able to brainwash Winston to the severity that they did.
To go back to the outside world connection, I would like to talk about a fictional series called One Piece. This is a perfect example of a dystopian society, specifically in the country of Dressrosa. This country used to be a prosperous land ruled by a benevolent king who was loved by the people. But one day, a man named Don Quixote do Flamingo, named the Joker, claimed to be the true king of Dressrosa. Using his powers, he controlled the innocent king like a puppet and forced him to kill his own people against his own will. Unbeknownst to the people, the king was actually crying inside. But in the eyes of the people, he was a monster. The new king, the Joker, saved the people by capturing the rampant ruler and brought peace to the land of Dressrosa. This was a happy ending. However, in reality, the Joker kidnapped citizens who were defeated in his Colosseum and turned them into puppets or toys who could think but not express their ideals. He forced these toys to work underground in order to support his business as the largest underworld broker. On the surface, everything was beautiful, but the truth was bitter. The people knew nothing of the true darkness of their ruler and country, and loved the Joker with all their heart. The Joker had absolute power, and all who tried to defy him were shut down and turned into toys. Another connection with 1984 is that the Joker had an inner circle of people who helped him and had knowledge of the truth.
What impact does Room 101 have in 1984?
Room 101 shows the true extent of Big Brother's control and influence in society as a whole. Even the most prideful and rebellious of men can be shattered completely and be reduced to nothingness, with only one thought left in their consciousness: love and loyalty to the one and almighty Big Brother. Big Brother would stop at nothing to crush his enemies and maintain a perfect society.
Room 101 is able to really show the fear the government has instilled amongst its people. It breaks down the person and falsely influences the person's thinking. It pushes forward this idea of a perfect dystopian society. This is apparent that this is not possible due to all the flaws in 1984 society, the manipulation of the government, the surveillance, and the freedom of the people.
What literary elements can be seen in 1984?
A literary element in 1984 is the paperweight. The paperweight represents a past of freedom and individuality. Because Winston struggles to remember his past, the paperweight acts as a beacon of hope, which is shattered by the party at the end. Winston's need for individuality is seen through the fragility of the glass of the paperweight.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast on 1984 by George Orwell.